There you go. So this is your Buffalo Bills offensive line to start the season. Ike Booker will start. He'll be on the pup list, but here you go. So he's out for a minimum of 4 weeks. Don't know when he'll be back. But let me throw it to Sean, since we're co-hosting. Let's have you start. Any
Yeah.
thoughts on the offensive line? Any surprises, disappointments? Talk to me.
Not so much surprises. I'm actually loving the starting five that we got right here. And people might say you got to put Spencer Brown there, but to be honest with you, I'm in no rush to put him starting at right tackle. I like to see how Quisenberry does, and especially he has a big test the first game of the year against the Rams. So I'd like to see how he does. But at face value, the offensive line is tenfold better than what we had last year. And Van Roten, he can play multiple positions. He's been a starter in this league. And it's nice to see fan favorite Bobby Hart make the roster. He wasn't
Fan
just picked up,
favorite?
wasn't picked up later in the
What?
season.
That was sarcastic, right?
So I feel for Bobby Hart. I think I told Mike or both of you this.
Yeah.
He's just a guy that he tries to make an honest living. He tries to be successful, and people just hate him because he sucks. But he made the roster the fair and honest way. So he must have actually improved from what the coaches said. So I'm excited that he's on the roster too. And obviously he's not going to get much playing time. But then you got Tommy Doyle, of course, another guy who can play both positions or use him in the heavy set. So yeah, just looking at it, looks very good to me.
Bobby Hart could punt. We do need a punter, so who knows? Maybe we we joked about that, Jake and I, about maybe we don't have a punter on our roster and we save that for somebody else that we had.
Who needs him?
Who needs him? Right? We're not going to need him. James, let me throw it to you. Any thoughts on the offensive line? Any surprises for you? What's on the board there?
No real surprises. Honestly, I think it's a solid group, and watching what Ken Dorsey was doing with them, what he had designed for them, especially in the red zone this preseason, just watching them kind of pave the way for, you're seeing some bigger holes than we've seen before, and it's making the backs look pretty good going through them. So no real surprises. I mean, just injury wise, it's good to have, the depth like that. Bobby Hart's there. So he's there for hopefully just we're going to keep Doyle and Brown healthy for a full season, and we won't have to see much Bobby Hart at all.
It is interesting because PFF, when I looked at it about a week ago, they had Quessenberry as a starter. Now they have Spencer Brown. I do believe it's going to be Quessenberry. Does anyone think that'll change within the next 10 days? Do you think Spencer Brown can get there?
No.
No reason to. No reason to at all, Mike.
Not Quessenberry's job to lose entirely.
Yeah, absolutely, James. And Brown's coming back off of a back surgery, so I mean, you're planting all of your body weight, 300 pounds into the ground, while another 300-pound man is pushing against you, and you're using a lot of your back and your leg muscles. So again, not just the fact that I don't think he deserves it to be starting right now. You just got to rest him a little bit more because the injury can just reoccur like that.
Yeah, totally agree. Anytime it's a back procedure, like I said, I told Jake on a couple of our shows, my dad and I both have had procedures on our back, and it's no joke. And especially when you're a bigger guy like that, it's got to be fully healed. Jake, let me throw it to you. What's your thoughts on this offensive line here? Any surprises?
I love it. Yeah, I was a little surprised by the Greg Mance cut, but there's always an opportunity for him to return. I actually thought, out of our signings this offseason, I was pretty excited about him just because of his versatility. He's played center and guard. He's been pretty solid with the Dolphins. Had to start a few games there, so was a little surprised by that. But I'll tell you what, Bobby Hart, not enough people give him credit, man. I mean, he's really, there's been so much negativity surrounding him. He did not play well at all for us when he was here last season and the season before. I think he was even with us for a hot second, and went to Tennessee, and I think he really took some of the criticism to heart, and he really worked on a lot of things. I know Brandon Beane was talking about it too, just saying like he met with Bobby Hart, and he even said different things for him to work on, and I definitely think he got better. Now this last preseason game, it was not a great showing for him, but the previous two games, I thought he really handled himself. And I'll tell you what, credit to Aaron Kromer, our offensive line coach. He has done a tremendous job with this O-line. And it's going to be, I'll tell you what, it's going to be light years difference this year. We have an interior offensive line right now that is I mean, those starting three right there, Roger Saffold, Mitch Morse, Ryan Bates, so athletic up front there. I mean, that's exciting, man. And it gives us an opportunity to actually run inside the tackles, which we didn't have last year. I mean, you'd hand the ball to Zach Moss, he'd run right into traffic immediately. Now I feel like we have a chance. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear about us running the football, but it's not just inside either. I mean, we have the backs that can get outside. We have the athleticism on the outside where I think we can do a little bit of everything. And credit to Aaron Kromer again, man. I've been riding that train the entire offseason here, but I'll tell you what, he is one of my MVPs of the offseason on who we signed and brought in here. So just a huge shout out to him. He's crazy, man. He's a psychopath, but I freaking love it. He brings an attitude, and I've been saying it all along. This line is going to be tough as nails. We got some dogs up front, man. It's going to be fun.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Coaching matters, man. I mean,
it does. It's huge.
Bobby Johnson is just god awful, and when you bring in somebody like Kromer, you just feel different. And then as you've seen, I know it's preseason, but they've already looked a million times better than I've seen them in years. So
yeah,
it's got to be something with coaching too.
And Bobby Johnson, he was big on the catch technique, meaning he would let the guys kind of the defensive line sort of come to them when you're a tackle, when you're pass blocking and stuff. Aaron Kromer is more of an attack approach, which I freaking love it, man. I mean, it's aggressive. It can get you in trouble sometimes, but I think we got the guys up front who can handle it. So I am super pumped, super excited about this. You should see a lot of improvement up front here.
Any of the linemen that we cut that you're hoping that we sign on the practice squad?
I would say the only guy is Greg Mance. Like I said, Mike, I was pretty excited about him at first. And, obviously injuries sort of got in the way of things. And I think there's still a chance to bring him back. But, yeah, I think outside of that, I'm okay with everyone else here. There's some guys, Alec Anderson, Luke Tenuta. I do see him as a potential practice squad candidate as well. That guy, I've said it every show, Mike, that dude's a freaking mammoth. And we don't draft right tackles under the height of 6'8". So, I mean, this guy's like 6'9", 322. His dad's a coach, comes from a football family. I mean, he's got the potential, and I think he actually got better as the preseason went on too. So that's another guy maybe I expect to potentially come back to the practice squad.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, he takes the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the same
thing. We'll go to you next.
Those are good. Those are good picks. I mean, like you said, Tenuta, he seems like he can play very well at multiple positions, and he didn't really get. I felt like the one game I did get to watch in almost the entirety, and not replays. He was from right tackle to left tackle, and just not having a break. And it kind of reminded me of Quentin Spain, where that last game of the year in 2019, he's the only offensive lineman who played every single offensive snap in the entire season. And
insane,
that kind of reminded me about it's good to be able to play the whole game because, it's especially when you're a big boy like that, that's where the games are won. And I always say that, but it's tough to play up there. So he showed that he could play for more than a quarter, more than a few drives. So I think it'd be good to have him back.
All right, awesome. I do want to say hi to everyone in the channel. Andre Duncan, Jello, Big Al, my dad, Bill, Thornton out there. And let's see, Go Bills podcast and Austin Drymiller. I hope I'm saying that right. And good stuff. Good stuff. Good to see you out there. And we love the interaction.
Austin makes a great point there with the pocket, a lot more pocket time. Just this small sample size we saw of Josh Allen against the Broncos. He kind of fluttered out of the pocket a little bit there, but then he got that good look, and he could see he stuck back up, and he threw that dime to Davis. But I mean, that pocket was pretty clean. Got a little bit of side pressure coming, but he stepped right back in there and didn't take off running, and just trusted the pocket was going to stay put. So that's a big difference too.
Yeah, he got
Mike, you're a legend, by the way.
What's that?
You're a legend.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I was wondering, Mike. I was like, is he gonna get this? Is he gonna get it? But
I do want to say.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, James, you're absolutely right. I was talking to Jake about that. I mean, that pocket, those tackles were doing a fantastic job. Got a little close. Josh's radar went up. He's like, all right, am I going to have to run? He's like, no, these guys got a handle. I'll step back a little bit and just fired a shot out there to Gabe. So, yeah, absolutely love it. I'm sorry, Sean, go ahead.
I was going to say, before we move on, how much better do you feel that you got a big guy like Roger Saffold having to, I'm not going to say he's going to stop Aaron Donald, but to attempt to block Aaron Donald over a guy like Feliciano?
Well, they were teammates too, by the way. So he has some practice against a guy like Aaron Donald. So that's an even bigger plus, you know?
Yeah.
So it just makes you feel that much better that he might be able to make a little bit of a difference as opposed to a guy like Feliciano who was getting pancaked by a D lineman every play of the game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. He brings the nastiness, but the control as well. And I think Feliciano just kind of lost control at times where he would be overly aggressive. He would get stupid penalties. You know, he'd whiff on different blocks. And he had his moments for sure, but I feel a lot better with Roger Saffold up front. So absolutely, man. Can't agree more.
All right. Well, I think we've exhausted the offensive line. We feel good about it.
Oh, you never exhaust an offensive line, Mike. This is the best topic of the day right here.
Is it really? All right.
Let's move on.